All right, guys, welcome back to another Paris, Texas, a podcast. I'm sitting here with a good friend of mine. I love this lady. I look up to her. She is shaking her head at me right now, but she's heavily involved in her community. I've heard from numerous people how they love her. She wants me to make her a list. Vicki Ballard, say hello.
Hello.
So, Vicki, so where did you grow up? Like, where were you born?
I was born at St. Joseph Hospital on the corner of 8th and Clarksville, here in Paris, Texas.
Right here in Paris, Texas.
Right here in Paris, Texas. Moved from St. Joseph Hospital over to the street my business is now on 20th Street. Yes, sir. That's where my parents took me home from the hospital.
Awesome.
House isn't even here anymore. It was down the
way a bit?
Down the way a bit, yes, sir.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to East Paris Elementary School. And actually, whenever I was 3 years old and 4 years old, there was a school here called Mrs. Baker's Little School, and it was on Pine Bluff.
Okay.
And so I went to kindergarten.
Never heard of that one.
Yes, I went to kindergarten at Miss Baker's Little School.
Okay.
3 years old and 4 years old. My cousins were older than I was, and they went to school, and I wanted to go to school.
Makes sense.
So in Texas, you cannot be 5 and start first grade. You have to be 6.
Okay.
Or at that time. I have no idea what the rules are now. But anyway, I went to a Seventh-day Adventist school on Pine Bluff, and there were 2 of us in the first grade.
Wow.
And so after that, second grade, I went to East Paris. So I went to second grade and third grade at East Paris School. And then my parents built a house at Pattonville. And so I started the Prairieland School District, and I stayed till I graduated. Graduated in 1980, yes, sir.
So what did you do in school? Like what
Are you
electives?
ready for this?
I'm ready.
We had no band.
No band.
At that time, no. And so everybody played basketball, even though I'm 5'1.5". I loved it. Oh, that was when it was half court girls rules.
What?
And so I played basketball and I ran track, and in junior high I was an alternate cheerleader, and
that's awesome.
Just
what kind of things did y'all do in high school, like outside of school? Like,
my goodness.
What were you into?
I worked from the time I was 15 years old. My first job was Brahms on Lamar.
Now, hold up. We were talking yesterday, because I came and visited you yesterday, and you told me you thought you knew my mom from one of your jobs.
That's right. I think it was Brahms on Lamar. Either that or Kmart.
One of those.
Yes.
I called her. She works nights, so sometimes it's hard to get a hold of her. I called her this morning. I texted her this morning and said, hey, call me when you're free or when you're awake. And she because I wanted to check with her before this podcast, but she's probably still asleep. So
good for her. I wish we were taking a little afternoon siesta too.
That would be awesome. So that's funny. That's weird how Paris, Texas, and things just connect, and stories connect, and I just love. That's what I love about all this. Okay, so back to you.
Okay.
So you worked.
I worked.
Boys.
I had I had a high school boyfriend off and on, and when I was 15, I met Ronnie Ballard.
No.
And we met at a pasture party in Blossom, and I thought, well, he's pretty nice. And so we dated a while. He was really too nice for me. And we would go to the movies every Sunday night, and just got to be good friends. And then, life happened. Mm-hmm. And
high school's high school.
High school's high school, and so after a while, in a deep, dark time in my life, we actually were working together at Marico, and he said, "You want to go out with me?" And I said, "No, I'm not dating right now." And he said, "Well, I'll show you. You can smile again."
Oh, he's so smooth.
Very.
That's
and
fun.
Anyway, so
you dated him in high school, and then you ended up dating him again after high school, and then marrying him.
Yes, and we've been together 31 years and plus 31 plus years. We've been together.
And he was patient because you weren't ready yet.
It's not ready. No.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But
That's-
he's a really good guy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you need that. You need a person that can be patient with you, because
Yeah.
I think you said this the other day or sometimes ago. You were like, sometimes you like, life is tough. You need people that are going to be patient with you, be your friends,
Yeah.
even your loved ones.
Yeah.
There'll be a time when you might not feel like you don't love them, but they're still your friend.
That's right. I mean, some things you just gotta just ride it out.
Ride it out. That's so
Ride
true.
it out.
That's so true, and that's the best way. Okay, so you went to so now you're out of high school. Where'd you go after high school? Before you met back up with Ronnie, but
Okay. I went to PJC for a while.
ooh, you're a dragon.
I was
Super
a dragon.
local. I love this.
Oh, yeah.
Grew up here, went to school here, went to college here, and we'll get to the rest of the stuff you did. You've grown up here.
Yes. Every Saturday, of course, we lived in the country. You know, we were little country kids. And every Saturday, my mom and dad both worked. And every Saturday, my mom would come to town. It's what we call Paris. You know, to go to the grocery store, beauty shop, blah, blah. And so you had a choice. You could either go with mom or you could sit with dad, because my dad was a barber.
Oh.
And so I sat at the barber shop. And so I knew what was going on in town. And that's where my love of horrible body jokes comes from.
Because you sit in the barbershop forever.
That's right. And, you know, I just got to know how to deal with people watching my dad. I mean, because you just... that teaches you when you work in the public and you have that skill set. That is really what you need.
And that's something you said you always wanted to do. You said to me, at least, that you've always wanted to just love on people and do something that involves people. Even when you're in school, high school, college, like, what was it? What did you want to be when you grew up? Like, an
accountant or an attorney.
Wow. So always is something that was going to benefit people. And which is interesting of what you ended up becoming. So we'll get to that.
Yeah.
So now you've gone to college and you were working at Marico, right?
Right.
What happens next?
Well, when Ronnie and I decided we were going to get married, we could not both work at Marico. His dad was a superintendent out there.
Oh no!
They had a rule against people being married.
Kimberly Clark had the same rule with my parents, but they let them stay for some reason even after they got married.
Well, we were not the ones to rock the boat because my mother was an accountant in the front office.
Okay.
My father-in-law was a superintendent, and so that factory.
There's already a lot of family.
Yeah, that factory fed both of us our entire lives, and so we were not the two to rock the boat.
No.
And so
did one of y'all stay and one leave?
Yes, I left because Ronnie had been there longer. He was full-time, and so I went to work for Weldon Slayton and Noel Philly at Philly Slayton Insurance.
Okay. So introduction insurance into your life.
That's right.
Okay.
And the very first day that I worked in insurance, I thought, oh, wow, I can do this. I like this. ADHD off the chart.
And it's helping people, like you said.
Yes. A lot of people get angry or they're not happy about paying insurance.
Yeah.
When they're in an insurance office, they're either paying and they always think they pay too much, or they're filing a claim. Typically, those are the, two things. And anytime anybody has a claim, it's not good. But here's the deal. After you've helped someone that has a true, legitimate claim, whether it be a house burned down, a tornado take your house out, whether it's a bad wreck when you've lost a loved one, their life has changed.
Yeah.
In an instant. And if all you can do is be there and help them pick up the pieces of their life, then you've done the right thing.
I bet you have a million stories of how it was super beneficial for them to have had insurance beforehand.
Well,
yeah.
I have a few, but there's.
I don't want you to tell them because they're personal.
Yeah,
but I can only imagine that there's so many great stories, and there's probably equal amount of stories of people coming in here mad because they're got an extra fee. Or a couple years ago, they've changed the dang flood maps.
Oh yes,
around here.
Yes, they
did.
And
then when I bought my house, I wasn't in a flood zone at all.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I was in the worst flood zone, whatever category 10,000 is or whatever.
Yes.
And I went in, and my flood insurance doesn't cost more than my house did.
Yes.
A month.
Yeah.
And we were not happy.
Yes,
we
sir.
went into our insurance saying, "What's the deal?"
Yeah. We had some of those come by.
Yeah. Just so y'all know, side note, we are at her office right now. So if you hear somebody in the background, they might be selling insurance right now.
Hallelujah.
Hopefully it's happy people. But no, so that's amazing. So you got into it. Sorry, we kind of sidetracked there. You got into it there. So how long were you there with them?
Oh, probably less than a year.
Less than a year. And
then a friend of mine had gone to work for a direct writer, which that means captive agencies.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "You need to come out here. We have an opening." And she said, "They'll pay better."
Mm-hmm. Well, everybody's looking for a better pay.
That's right. And so I said, "I can't come to work out there. Y'all have a fax machine, and I do not know how to operate it." That's the truth. And her name's Christy. And so Christy said, "It's just a telephone.
Just a telephone.
Just come out here." And so I went out there, and I worked for a couple of years. And then I had a man approach me about coming to work for him. And I did.
In the insurance?
Yes.
Okay, so now you're back into insurance
and
again.
I'm back at an independent, yes.
Okay.
And I worked there for a little over 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And still in love with it.
Still loved it. Still loved it. I was their claims manager, and I loved it. I mean, really, I just,
So
I do like insurance.
That's amazing. Okay, so I'm trying to decide which direction I want to go. So how did you get to Ballard Insurance?
Well, I worked there for 7 years, and then I went to work for someone else, and for another captive as an agent. And
so you were claims, and then you're an agent.
Right.
So you've pretty much done like everything. By this point, you've done like everything there is to do.
Well, hopefully, yes.
In this world, at least.
Right. And so just decided one day that, hey,
I can do this.
I can do this, and I'm going to do this.
Okay, at that point, had Ronnie done any of it with you?
No.
Okay.
All he had done was pay for ours. And he
yours.
was one of these that like, hey, this is high. What can you do? And it's like, man,
that's insurance.
I can't help it.
Okay, so now you're breaking out on your own.
Yes.
Did you go? Was it just you, or did he go ahead and join you and y'all?
It was just me. It was me, an $800 computer that we had bought for our kids for Christmas that we had to make payments on.
You bought your kids a Christmas present that you worked with.
That's right.
Oh, that's amazing.
You have to do what you have to do.
Think I can sell my kids on a new camera?
Yeah. Good luck on that. But, I had no idea, what everything was going to cost. And when you have no money, zero, it's not, you just do what you have to do.
And that's the scariest part. I mean, I own my own business and may own more businesses in the future, but that's the scariest part, is like just the unknown.
It is.
It's like remodeling a home. You think you know, and then you get into it.
Which is our hobby, is remodeling houses.
And then you get into it, and this extra fee comes up here, and then this, and so
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So you started. It was just you. Where was that at? Where was your first?
2225 Clarksville Street. I had a phone call from a friend of mine. She said, this is whenever I was still employed by someone else, and she said, I'm buying a rent house and I need for you to cover it. And I said, well, I can do that, but I'm just going to tell you, I'm not going to stay here. There are things that I don't like, and I'm going to do something different.
Going in on my own.
Well, I didn't know.
Oh, you didn't know that yet?
I didn't know that yet. I didn't know what I was going to do. And she said, well, my brother-in-law and husband have a little area up there that you could rent. And I said, well, okay, for $200 a month. And Ronnie and I did not know at that time how we were going to pay that
single fee.
That single rent.
And there's more that you probably didn't even know was going to pop up.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay.
And so for the first year, we lived on credit cards. And it was very, very tough.
Oh, I can only imagine.
But God, exactly, because the Lord
provided
for us. And in a way that I never even dreamed possible.
So at this point, did you have how many kids did you have at
2.
this point? You had both your kids then.
I did. I think Dylan was probably maybe 6 or 7. Well, he was 7. We started in 97. He was born in 90. So Dylan was 7 and Matthew was 14.
I can say for sure, not to get into my story too much, but I know exactly what like the fears that you had, because when I started I Am Broadway, I had 2 kids and a wife.
Yeah.
And is this gonna work?
Yeah.
Am I making a foolish decision? Mm-hmm. And it's amazing. So was the first year the hardest?
I would say so. The first 2 years were really hard because, you're juggling being a wife, you're juggling being a mom, and now you're a business owner, and
it was just you.
It was just
the
me.
whole first year was just you, or did you grow within the first year?
We grew within the first year, but I think we hired a little after-school girl.
Okay.
To help.
That's nice.
It is, and the first full-time employee we had, she was awesome. She's deceased now, but she really brought professionalism to the office because she had been with the school system. She was retired superintendent secretary, and she was just a wonderful person. And we have really been blessed with lots of friends that encourage us. You never know the value of encouraging, because it just motivates you to do better and better.
Yeah, I actually recently had a conversation with somebody who was wanting to do something on their own, and I kept saying, they were saying, I just don't know if I can do this, I can't do that, I can't do this, what am I going to do if this happens, and worst case scenario stuff. And I was like, I had all of those fears, and I still was capable of doing it. And this person in particular was a very strong-willed person, very, very, how'd you describe the girl you were talking about? Very, passionate. She's very good. She brings professionalism, that kind of person.
Right.
And I told him, I was like, if you can do what you do right now, you can do this. I guarantee you can do this.
You just have to find what you're passionate about.
And that's what I say about my job, and I would say probably about what you do for sure too. Is I am super passionate, love what I do. I get to get up every morning, and do something I truly love. And I would probably, I don't know statistics. I don't even like statistics, but I would say a good percentage of people don't get that pleasure.
Right.
They have to get up and do something that they don't. They dread Mondays.
Right.
And they love Fridays.
Right. Now, don't get me wrong. I still love Fridays, and I still kind of drag on Mondays. But I'm just as comfortable here in this office
as
you I am in my kitchen.
Right. I would say the exact same thing. I mean, I love weekends because you get to spend more. I get to spend more time with my family than I do on the weekdays. I mean, there's reasons for that, but at the same point, I'm not dreading it because I dreaded what I did all day. And I'm not, looking forward to the weekend because I dreaded what I'm fixing to do. Or I'm miswording it all, but I just love what I get to do, and I wish that for anybody that has that ambition to want to do something like that, especially if they're good at it and they really love doing it.
Exactly.
So, sorry, rabbit trail, squirrel. Okay. So you've got your 2 kids. You're married to Ronnie. You got your own business.
Right.
It's growing.
It is.
What happens next?
What happens next? Well, kind of a rabbit trail as well. What happens next is I tell Ronnie, I have secured health insurance for us. Mm-hmm. You can either stay at the bakery and we hire someone to keep our books. And we had friends volunteer to come, to come help us. We had a friend that come help start our bookkeeping system. We had a friend come set up our computers. I mean, just support everywhere. And so anyway, Ronnie decided he would retire from the bakery. And he'd been there 21 years. And so he said, all right, I'm scared, but here.
So he joins.
He joins. And so we had lost his salary.
Ooh. But you built a stable business.
But we were okay, And so, we were renting, and we had rented the first half of the building for $200 a month. But then we had grown, and we thought, well, we're going to rent the whole thing for $400 a month. We had stepped out of our boat. And anyway, so when Ronnie came on board, we thought, okay, we'll rock and roll here for a while and see how it goes, and then we'll buy something. And less than 3 months later, the building sold.
To someone else.
And they said, you don't have to worry, everything's going to remain the same. Okay. Well, and then at Christmas time, probably about this same time of year, they came over and told Ronnie, y'all are going to have to move. We need that spot. And we said, where will we go? We have nowhere to go. It's hard to move an insurance office.
Yeah.
And what can we afford? And so...
And how much time did they give you?
They wanted us out by January.
So like a month.
Yes, and which was impossible.
During the holidays.
That's right.
When everybody else is doing other stuff.
Right.
Ooh, that's tough.
So we immediately started looking for a building. This building was vacant. And...
the building we're in now. The building
we're in now.
Your business
yes,
now.
Where we bought. And we didn't think we could afford it. We didn't think that our banker would go along with us.
Again, your brain just goes to the worst case scenarios.
It does, because we knew Ronnie had just lost
that extra income,
stable, stability. And anyway, thank the Lord that we had an awesome banker. I love her to death. And she said she believed in us, and so she said okay. And so I don't even know that we were in this building yet, because we had some renovations to do. And the gentleman that owned the building across the parking lot, what used to be a washateria back in the day.
It's a hair salon now?
It's a hair salon and a rental management company.
Okay.
And anyway, so he calls and he says, I hear you're looking for a place. And I said, yes, sir, we are. And he said, I'll sell you that for a low amount. And I knew we'd already bought this, but Ronnie was gone to lunch, and I said, you know what, I think we'll take it. And so Ronnie comes back from lunch. I said, hey, you know how we didn't think we could afford this building? Well, not only did we buy this one, but we're going to buy the one next door. So we had a little chat about that.
No.
But it was okay. It was okay, and it worked out fine. And so
did y'all rent that space out for...
We do.
In the beginning, though, did you rent that space out to make up some of the extra...
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
We obviously we sell Progressive, and so Progressive had gotten so big in our county that they put 2 adjusters in that spot.
Okay.
And so Progressive stayed there and rented.
I remember when I was in high school. Was it there for a while?
It was there, yes, for a long time.
I remember because I remember their cars were parked because they had very white SUVs that had Progressive along the side of them.
That's
I remember that.
Yeah. And then we've had the beauty salon there for years.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know if she's been there 10 years or a long time.
Wow,
so,
that's good.
Yeah. And
it's Rocks of Love?
Rocks of Locks.
Rocks of Locks. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I couldn't remember.
Carabond, and
I don't know
she's
if you've
wonderful.
If you can't see me because you're all listening, but I don't have any hair on my head, so the name of places that cut hair are probably not very I'm not going to remember them. So, anyway. All right. So, okay, that's amazing. So now things are things rocky or are things good? Like when you get in here, get settled.
Things are really good.
Really good. Business booming and growing.
We have been so blessed by people trusting us to take care of their business. It's unbelievable. It's
amazing.
Unbelievable to me. It makes my heart so happy.
It's amazing.
You know that people do put that kind of trust in us. And I'm not saying we're perfect, because we are certainly, I'm saying we're not. But what I am saying is that we love our clients and what we do our very best
to help you. I mean,
that's just the way it is.
Insurance is insurance, and it's going to be tough regardless of who you go to. But if you go to someone who's going to do their best and love on you and give you the best they can, it's at least your experience is better. Price is probably going to be not what you want to spend. At the end of the day, you don't want to spend anything.
Exactly. But, just real life. So
real life.
We're rocking on.
That's awesome.
Our kids, our oldest son was in college, and Dylan's here, and he's going to PJC. And, we didn't believe in giving our kids, even though we were being blessed financially. We weren't the kind of parents to spoil our kids, because we were the kind of parents that we had to have jobs, and responsibilities, and it did not hurt us, and we were not going to hand out money to our kids.
Yeah, no, I don't plan on doing that either.
So we
not that I have it to give them right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, exactly. It's not like we had all kinds of discretionary money, because that certainly was not true. No. But we, when I was in high school, I remember I had like 2 or 3 pair of jeans, and that was it. You know what I mean? And so, you do want so much better for your kids.
Oh, yeah, I do.
So Matthew was away at college, and we put a snow cone stand in here, and we made Dylan work. From the time he was 14 years old. Yes, sir. I
hauled hay when I was 14.
That was hard.
That was hard work.
I got to drive the truck whenever I was living in the country. That I like to drive the truck when we were hauling hay.
Yeah. And if you've ever met me, I do not look like the type of person that would haul hay.
No, sir.
It was not particularly fun.
Right.
But no, when I was 14, 15, I hauled hay through the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some during the school year after school, but mostly through the summer.
Yeah, no bueno. It's always hot. They're heavy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is before round bales.
I think I did mostly round bales. So I would rake the hay. I mostly drove the tractor.
Oh, please.
Now I've done that too. Trust me, I've done square bales too. My stepdad. Most of that though, I didn't get paid for.
Right.
I got paid for driving the tractor, but I didn't get paid for hauling the big heavy square bales and stacking them up 10 high and
right. And then unstacking them in the barn.
Then you got to unstack them in the barn. Well, unstack them off the trailer and then restack them in the barn.
That's my life. Whenever I was a little girl.
Hard pass.
Hey, you know what?
I'd rather carry a camera.
I guess
around.
So. Yeah.
So what happened next?
Well, life kept moving on, and then 7.5 years ago, Dylan was in a wreck. And he was hurt really bad and did not survive.
And it was a really hard time for the family, and
it still is.
It still is.
Yeah.
But, not to negate the loss, but something very amazing did come out of it, which is Dylan's Drivers, which is an amazing... I've done stuff with them. I've made videos and stuff with them before, which amazing organization. Can you tell a little bit about that?
Sure. A little bit. You're going to have to tell me when to stop. Before Dylan's funeral, we had a friend come over to our house, and we had some mutual friends that some of their kids had gone to Texas A&M. Texas A&M had a guy, I used to know his name, but he started this organization down there called Carpool.
Okay.
And
I think I've heard of this.
oh, it's
A bigger thing.
it is a bigger thing.
Yeah.
And he started carpool because he was a college student and he got a DWI. And he said, that's kind of the rite of passage for college students is to, I guess flex their independent muscle. And so he had started that program for kids on college campuses that would just drink so they would not get DWIs and or hurt anyone. And so she was telling me about that program. She said, we really lose a lot of kids here, and it's true.
It is true.
And
I remember even in my high school years, we lost quite a few.
Yeah, and I mean, I've lost people that I went to high school with. And anyway, she talked to us about that, and so we thought about it, and then we went to Stephen F. Austin, and there was a girl from Stephen F. Austin that had heard about the carpool program, and she had gone to Texas A&M, studied it, got all the information, brought it back to Stephen F. Austin, and created driving jacks for theirs.
Okay.
So we were closer, I guess, to Nacogdoches. We picked to go down there one night. We took, I don't know, maybe 20 people with us, and we watched a night of operation.
Okay.
And we sat in hours and hours and hours of training and listening, and we thought, because it was a privilege on a college campus to be chosen to be a part of these college organizations. There are a lot of safe ride programs now on college campuses, and didn't used to be. And so
and these were some of the ones that started that.
That's right, they are. Carpool being Texas A&M being one of the first in the nation. And so we didn't care what people's GPA, because Parrish Junior College is a 2-year college. Most of the people at PJC, not all of them, but a lot of them are 18, 19, and 20.
Okay. Early college years.
Early college years, that's right. And so you couldn't really start this type of program.
So it had to be
community-based.
Yeah, it had to be community-based, and it had to be organized to fit our needs for our community.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so we thought Lamar County, which has, I don't know, over 1,000 paved road miles, would be a good county to start with.
Yep.
And we talked to all different people. We put a board in place together, and we tried to secure people from all different types of areas. We tried to have teachers, we tried to have bankers, we tried to have lawyers. We had a very good mix on our board as to the pulse of the community. And the hardest part of starting Dylan's Drivers, number one, was trying to educate people about what it really is. A lot of people still think, oh, you got to be drunk to call Dylan's Drivers. And that's not true at all.
You just have to be in an unsafe environment.
That's right. We had a lady that worked at a local grocery store. She had to walk through a bad neighborhood to get home. She picked up the phone and said, will you take me home? This is a situation. Of course we will.
Right.
We are a safe ride program.
Correct. Not an Uber.
Yeah, not an Uber. That's right. Because we're free.
Yeah.
And here's the other part. If maybe you say, well, I don't, my family, we don't drink. We're just regular people, and we don't need your services. Well, let me just tell you a little story that helped make it real to me. My pastor, Mike Fortenberry, who loves kids.
Yep, I know Mike.
He took a busload of kids to a Ranger game one time. They did not get back in town, home, until I think it was nearly 2 o'clock in the morning. What if? I mean, they were all. The reason I even thought about this is because they were all kind of sleepy at church the next day, and I could certainly feel their pain.
Oh, yeah.
But what if a drunk driver had have hit them right when they were coming back into Lamar County? Mm-hmm. When that drunk driver would have had to do is pick up the phone and call.
Yeah.
So it not only keeps the drunk driver...
It keeps everyone safe.
From getting the DWI or from hitting and killing himself, but look at the other people on the road.
We've had accidents where someone's hit a bus.
Yes.
Full of kids.
Yes.
And, and their tox reports came back questionable, Right. Yes. So, I mean, there's no question, that's what I'm trying to say. There's no question that it's beneficial to everyone to have a program in place like this for every county.
Well, we're almost at 13,000 rides.
That's amazing. And how many years? 7?
It will be 7 years New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve.
We lost Dylan August the 1st of 2011. The accident was July the 23rd. And Dylan's birthday, he turned 21 July the 27th. And then he, I can't even hardly say it, he died on August 1st. And we had we didn't even know what we were doing. And we had a fundraiser in October of that year.
Okay.
Where people rode, we met at the Harley-Davidson shop, and we had a motorcycle ride because Dylan was always into motorcycles.
Okay, that's amazing.
And we had a motorcycle ride, and people just, our friends that knew what we were raising money for, it was unbelievable. People just started throwing money, and we had to ask some of our friends, hey, well, actually it was Randy and Lisa Conant, and we said,
I love them.
I do too. And they came, they're our very close friends, and they came out to support us, and we said, hey, people are throwing money at us. Can you two stand there and take it? And, because they're honest, salt of the earth people.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And so, when you have a brother from another mother like Randy Conant, and he's going to take care of you, you don't have to worry. It's done.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, that's how we started.
That's amazing.
And so we had the building that we talked about that the guy sold us cheap.
Yeah.
And it had a little area in there. We had
that wasn't being rented at that time.
No, it was our storage building.
Okay.
And so we turned that into the first headquarters of Dylan's Drivers.
Awesome.
And
it's still there.
It is still there. It's still back to our storage building now. But Ronnie and I, we built the building that Dylan's Drivers is in now. Okay. That building does not belong to Dylan's Drivers. That building belongs to Ronnie and Vicki Ballard.
Okay.
But we built that building, and it's paid for, and that for the specific use of Dylan's Drivers. And as long as I have breath, or until if anything were to happen, that's where they're going to be.
Okay.
So no rent.
Nice. And it's all ran off of volunteers.
Volunteers
who come in and
donations.
And donations. And
and the United Way.
And the United Way, which we love, because I do a lot of stuff with the United Way. But and something else, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you have people, local restaurants that will donate food for the volunteers.
It is unbelievable to me. When we went to Nacogdoches to see how they did, they said, now we have Popeye's chicken here, or we have pizza, or we have this, and people rotate and feed the volunteers. And Steve Martin from Paris Coffee, he came in and goes,
great man.
I know. He goes, I want to be part of that, which Steve has my heart.
Oh, yeah. Great guy.
Wonderful people. And Vicki Pickens, that owned Popeyes at that time, I'd known Vicki my entire life, because we both lived in Lamar County our entire life. And it was like, sure, whatever you need. No questions asked. after we told her what was going on. And we still have people that are lined up on our food list to just do what
feed
they
the
can.
volunteers.
Just feed the volunteers. And that is a very important part because it's fun,
Yeah.
Now,
Well, yeah, it needs to be fun. Otherwise, the volunteers don't want to come.
right.
But
There's games up there. Mm-hmm. There's a hateful
couches and
yeah.
and you can watch movies because it's based on when you get a call in.
Yes.
So it could be a slow night, could be a busy night.
That's right. Back in the slow nights, we were playing, I don't even know, some kind of video game that was interactive. And so there's a hateful video of me dancing to, I don't think it was the Great Dance Off or whatever, dance party or whatever it was, but it's ugly.
I'm sure it's not ugly.
It is. And every now and then
It pops back
it
up.
pops back up. Yes.
Can I share that on my Facebook page?
No, but if anyone, there are two people that have it particularly, and if they hear this podcast,
Can I get their names?
no.
Oh, that's funny.
Andy Trapp.
Oh no. Anyway, okay, that's amazing, and I love that y'all made a positive out of such a hard situation in life. And we were talking right before this podcast about something totally, it didn't have to do with this topic at all, but like looking back and seeing how doors were opened and how things just, even through the hardest of times, how things just work and it's hard sometimes to think about looking back and seeing those things like in a positive way, but there's just so much to gain from looking back on stuff like that.
Looking back, I'm overwhelmed at the kindness of everyone.
But you put that kindness in those everyone's growing up, like we talked about, like you from high school and beyond and before, you were always wanting to love on people.
I do love people, and I don't understand people who don't.
Oh, don't even get me started.
But our life is very rich and our life is very blessed.
It is.
And we are not on the path that we thought we would be on.
But
here we are.
You'll ride it out.
Yeah, I mean, what choice do we have? What choice do we have?
Make the best of what you've been given.
Right.
So, I love that. Thank you so much for being on my podcast.
Thank you for asking me.
And I do, what I said in the beginning, I do really mean. I do look up to you, and you are an amazing inspiration to people in Paris and your community and all of the above.
Thank you.
She's crying, so she's not saying very much.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It was an amazing podcast. I think this might be my best one yet.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, my mom was on last week or the week before. I can't remember, so I may have to say she's my favorite. But
I guess so.
You're my second favorite to my mom. How about that?
I love that. Thank you.
I like the others too, so nobody get mad at me if I've done your podcast.
All right, guys. Some of the kids in for years have called us Fav and Fur. Like,
oh yeah, I've heard this story.
Yes, FAV for favorite Aunt Vicki.
Okay.
And FUR for favorite Uncle Ronnie.
Okay.
So Fav and Fur. And so, just to know that our community's been so good to us. So good to us.
And you to them. I know it's hard to look at it like that, but you have.
Well, we'll talk about that another podcast.
Okay, deal. Podcast 2.0.
There you go.
Thank you again so much for being on the podcast. Guys, we try to come out every Monday with a new podcast. So far, I've done it. I can't even remember how many I'm at. I think it's like 30 or 32 or something like that podcast we've had. So check in every Monday for new podcasts. I also have a Facebook group that you can join where I send out reminders on the days before so that you know who's coming up next, and you get a little sneak peek of that podcast so that you kind of can get excited about it. And sometimes I post embarrassing photos or videos of people because that's just fun. And so check in next Monday. And thanks for tuning in. Love you guys. Bye.